My name is Qiu Xia, 我姓何. My last name is He. This instrument is called a pipa. P-I-P-A. Pipa is a very exciting instrument. When I play the instrument, I need to wear my fingernails on my right hand. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 of them are taped with plastic fingernails. But in old time, we don't need that. Just use your own. But last 100 years, we use fingernails because the string is become metal and loud. Traditionally was using silk or gut strings, like animal gut. So they're softer. They don't need fingernails. When you look at the pipa, it's beautiful piece of wood, this one. And then front is another piece of wood. And those lines you see, it's called frets. So the top frets from wood, and frets from here made from bamboo. When I first began to play pipa, I only play a few notes, which is like I use index finger and thumb, like this. And then later, you can learn faster. When I want to play 2 notes together, like this. Or use this 2 finger. One of the very key character of pipa is tui and la, which is pulling and push the string. So they give the sound. So it sounds like, oh, that's Chinese music, like this. And the instrument also has harmonics, which means you have the half of the instrument, quarter of the instrument, or third of the instrument, all has a natural harmonic, like this. When I need to stroke, like the guitars, you stroke all 4 or 5 strings, I use index finger. Down or up. When I need to roll the notes together as a line, I join all 5 fingers. Hi, this is Song Yun, my old friend, and she plays this instrument called erhu, spelled E-R-H-U. Why we call it a violin is because it sounds like a Western violin, but only 2 strings. And when you look at the instrument itself, it has a sound box. And we also have a kind of a python skin in the front there. The python now is farm raised. Now, the bow is the same as the violin. And what's the other note? What's the tuning there?
And D and A.
Great, Song Yun. So it's fascinating. You see the bow actually going forward to backward. So the bow actually is in between the 2 strings. Can we see that again? Wow. So that means when she wanted to play the outside string, she push forward. Inside string, she pull. So those 2 strings had to go like this. Can you imagine the piece she plays? She has to go move so fast. And then also they have a lot of techniques just like a violin and similar idea. And with the left hand, they do something. How do you use your left hand there? So much like human singing
Voice, human voice.
Oh, it's like
Yes,
human voice.
yeah.
Exactly. So it's like somebody is singing, and then you have a
Yes.
lot of rebuttals, right?
Yes.
Rebuttals and the things that are you move. And I'm curious, how do you do that? I don't see any fingerboards
The
on your
fingerboards,
instrument.
The finger intonation very hard.
Yeah.
The violin here has a border. Press is 1 tones. The erhu here has a space. Has a 2 fingers space. If have use 1 tones, don't move. So it's very, very hard intonation. Different violin.
Did you hear that? You get to listen to the note because if you push harder, right?
Yes,
If you push
yes.
harder, it will be sharper.
Yes.
If you play light,
Like-
it's too flat.
Yes.
So you got to have incredible ears to produce the intonation.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. So you need practice a lot. So I remember when I was little, I loved violin. And then
Yes.
I thought it's this like, oh, I want to be a erhu player. But I didn't know how hard that is. You get to be in tune.
Yes.
Wow. Song Yun, can you play us something like a small piece or something?
Yeah, today I will play a section of name Kong Shan Niao Yu. Kong and empty, Shan and mountain. Niao is bird. Yu conversation. Bird conversation on mountain.
Beautiful. Way! That's so much fun.
Thank you.
这是我的朋友吴中喜，他吹的唢呐和笙。今天呢，他来讲一讲什么是笙，什么是唢呐。唢呐呢是 SUONA， 笙呢是 SHENG。
Okay, this is my instrument. This is called a sheng, S-H-E-N-G, made of bamboo. For this one, I have 21 pipes. They're made of bamboo and roughly about over 3,500 years old in China history. Originally, this part of made of gourd. After certain year, they made of wood. During the Tang Dynasty, they made of metal, this part. And inside the reed, each pipes, they have their own reed. It's most earliest free reed in the world. It's very, very ancient instrument.
So free reed is the reed you use inside the harmonica and the accordion. So that's why we say sheng is the grandparents of all those instruments. It's very, very old.
Yes.
What does it sound like? Can you play us a little bit? So the sound like, to me, it's like an organ or something.
People call it like a mouth organ. So this is what it sounds like. And you can play single notes. And you can play the chord.
And Zhongxi, why you have so many? They all look different.
Yes. Because the sheng is many, many years ago, and that time, Chinese music, they are slightly different than Western. The Western music is like what you call chromatic notes.
Yeah.
And the sheng is in China basically just 5 notes: do, re, mi, sol, la. And each sheng you can only play maybe 2 keys and sometimes 3 keys. You change the fingering. For the program we just did, we require different keys. What we do is this is only play key in D or G, and the other one play E and A and F and C. And this is a different generation. This is very old. And for this one is 36 pipes. 36 pipes.
Can we hear it? It's so fascinating. Can we hear it?
So for this one is right now in this 40 years, when China just opened the door and they try to, play the Western music, because the Western music is so many different notes, changing, half note, whatever, and the Chinese instrument cannot handle it. So what that they did is they try to learn Western. They add a key in it, and then in that case we can play all the chromatic notes. Basically, almost this range is like a violin, like 3 octave. You can do all different keys.
In the orchestra, yeah. Whoa! So many more notes.
It's more notes, yes, like a 3 octave every note.
Wow, I like the Sheng family. That's beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
And also, you play suona, and then you also have 2 different suona.
Actually, I have like a whole set in 12 of them in the backstage. I didn't bring them up. There are all different sizes, from small to big. This is basically the biggest one, and then small, small, small. So they're different key, and you know.
Is the small is louder, or what's
It's
that?
higher pitch. The shorter you got
higher.
it, the more higher pitch you get. The longer you had, the lower pitch, right? So this is the suona. And this is a very difficult instrument to handle because we have double reed. This reed is made of one type of grass. As you know, if you know anything about Western, like oboe or bassoon, they are double reed. So they're reed made of some kind of a cane that the two pieces, and then they tie it together, and you blow the double side. For my suona, it's also double reed. Is one kind of a tube, and we iron them together. So let the tube flat, and that's how you make this shape, and then you blow them. Because the material is more softer, so the reed, you take a long time to make them to work, and then they won't last that long because it's softer. So learn the suona, you have to learn how to fix the reed. Same as the oboe. Yes.
Oh.
And it's a very loud instrument. It's basically 5 parts. Belt, and the chanter part, the wood made of wood, we have 8 holes on it. You cover by the finger. And this part is called the staple. And this flat part is just for help my amateur stable. And reed you can take out like this, very small. And also you can adjust tuning by push the in or pull out. Again, it's shorter, you have a higher pitch. You want a sharper.
I like it.
Yes.
It sounds like many markets, many those parade. We hear suona
Yes,
everywhere.
Yes. So this the piece I just played is called 100 Bird. If you search on the website, I forgot the name. 百鸟朝凤. If you search on the website, there's a movie talk about it. Just talk about this instrument and talk about the China young boy, how to learn the instrument, and when they grow up, and you know all about this instrument. So when you look at the movie, the actors, how they learn is exactly same as when I was young, learn from my father, and go travel along the village to play for different
Functions.
like a wedding and birthday, all kind, just like a Western, like a bagpipes kind of event, all kind of parade, New Year's. It's fun. So that's why we have the bell. It's very loud. Winter time we play outside too.
Right.
Very loud.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Woo.
you. You're welcome.
This is Yu Zhimin, and her instrument is called ruan, R-U-A-N. She's going to introduce this one for you.
This instrument is called the ruan. Ruan is one of the oldest instruments in China, with a history of over 2,000 years. Ruan is a plucked lute made of wood, It has 24 frets and a 3.5 octave range. And the standard tuning for this one is G D, G D. Ruan has a lot of scales in both hands. The basic scale is 弹条. The instrument was named after Ruan Xian, a first player of this lute, and the Ruan has different sizes.
Oh, different size? You mean different, how many different?
Three.
Three.
At least, yes.
So
the bass one, like the bigger one sounds like a bass, and we have smaller one, it's a higher song.
So yours is the middle one?
Yes.
Oh, so this one is 中阮.
中阮.
Okay, so 中 means center, and there's the middle one. So when you play, you plug the instrument. Sound like sometimes people say it sound like a guitar because you're using some of the chords, right?
Yes, lots of chords.
And your instrument is hollow, like the body is hollow. 是中间是空的，对不对？
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
So and then on top the frets, it's made from wood.
Yes, wood.
Wood.
Made of wood.
And then you use 2 fingers.
Yes, I use 2 fingers. Sometimes I use pick, the 2-way to play.
Oh, you also use pick too.
Yes.
Like the guitar sometimes.
Yes,
they
sounds
use
stronger and
when you need a louder,
yes,
stronger
louder
sound.
and faster.
How do you do this guitar-like sound? Like sometimes you do the.
Oh, like this?
Oh, cool.
Like.
It sounds like a guitar piece. Sounds great. Sounds fun. Well, can you play a little bit for us and to hear the instrument?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, this is André Thibault. He's my husband. And we've been playing music together for a long time.
25 years.
Whoa, that's that long already?
Yeah, long time.
So in this show, you do play a lot of instruments, but in this show, what the key instruments you played?
Well, because it was mostly Chinese folk music, we used the Chinese percussion as much as we could. So what they call a tone block, or they call a moyu, just a wooden block. You play the tempo in this one. So I use those, and of course the gong, the metal gong is made of brass. And yeah, pretty well concentrated on those. Yeah.
And when you play the Xinjiang piece, when I was doing the dancing part, you also used a very interesting string instrument.
Yes, I was playing a lute. It's called oud. Has a long history of a couple of thousand years. And it had some influence on the pipa because you notice the bent neck. But the difference is there's no frets on the lute here. And it's played with a pick. They play with their fingers. So it's very beautiful sound. So. And it's what they call more than a chromatic instrument because it plays quarter tones. So if you have a normal note, you can sharpen the note. So it's a little out of key. But that's how they get special effects in their music. You get quarter tones and it sounds sad. It's a lovely instrument. It has 5 pairs of strings.
So this instrument is called oud.
Oud, yeah.
And the instrument actually relate to the pipa. I remember I was studying about how pipa came from. This actually came from the lute.
Yes.
And went to China and mixed with a Chinese lute and become the pipa.
Yeah, it was a big influence on a lot of strings. They have the European troubadour lute comes from this, the mandolin, even the guitar can be related to this almost. So it's a very important instrument in the string family.
And in the show, you also played a few songs like birds. How do you do that?
Yeah, we created a duet with one of the musicians, and I decided to imitate kind of like forest. So with beads, for example, you can go like this, and then little bird calls. All kinds of them, imitating all kinds of birds. Some of them have little lever here. They're like a warble bird. There was a wind whistle. A flock of birds. And our neighborhood friend.
We do. And you also have something fascinating on the floor there. It's like beans to me.
Oh, yeah, we make instruments out of things. When I was traveling somewhere, I think in South America, and these big beans were on the floor, so I tied them together so they can be used as percussion, or shakes, or... So I don't know if I even played it in the piece. I had so many things to do. And the other instrument I played was in a dance and song that we did. I played what we call in English a frame drum, but in Asia it's called a daf. And you always play with your hands. You can play with the mallet. It'll give you kind of like a drum sound. Like First Nations use mallets on their drums. But when you play with your hands, it gives you more tones. So you can play bass and accompaniment. So great instrument to accompany and to sing to. Merci.